This one's wild, bro.
Magic.
This one's wild, dude.
A Treatise on Esoteric Ethics. By Manly P. Hall. Preface. As Paracelsus noted centuries ago, the invisible realms of nature are governed by immutable laws which cannot be violated with impunity. In recent years, researchers
How fast can I go?
in many fields have been exploring the hidden side of life and nature, but few of them have given serious consideration to the moral and ethical responsibilities associated with their labors. The tendency has been to assume that the transcendental arts, like the resources of the physical world, can be exploited without regard for consequences. As in the case of the sorcerers of long ago, the principal objective is the binding of invisible energies for the advancement of personal ambitions. Many innocent persons have become involved.
So look at this egg, right? This is something they don't teach you in Psych 101. There's a mental plane, which is air, where your thoughts and ideas are. There's an astral fire, which is your emotions and motions. There's your root, physical, earth, and the etheric. Which one's liquid? Etheric should be liquid about reproductive system.
Involved in magical practices and disciplines which are detrimental to character and dangerous to physical health. The abuse of powers and forces as yet but partly understood must result in both psychical and psychological tragedy. In this little essay, I have attempted to present in concise form a code of rules which, if faithfully followed, will protect both the individual and society. We are fully aware that the materialistic approach on any level of esoteric knowledge is contrary to the universal plan. We must all accept the burdens that come from the exploration of natural mysteries and dedicate our findings to the glory of God and the well-being of all humanity. Part 1. Children of the False Darkness. 1. For ages, man has labored under a misunderstanding. He has called the perversion of occult power black magic. This is an improper use of the word black, for black does not mean evil. Black is the basic not color of all things, it is the source of all being, and represents the body of the absolute intelligence. All consciousness and light are born out of the chaotic blackness, and cosmic night, with its dark prelayer, is the father-mother of creation. Black darkness must forever shroud the workings of the infinite, and no matter how much light there is in the human soul, it is forever surrounded with the dark, seething substances of chaos. All manifestation is a concretion of dark and unmeasured possibility. 2. The children of the dark birth who labor in the blackness of this substance, molding it into myriads of unseen and
Spoiler alert, he's going to give you two options. You either join Satan or Lucifer. Solar or lunar. And the Lucifer is the good guy one. It's weird, right? That's polarity, that's duality.
unmeasured forms, are not evil. They are the sons of Satan, the Black Father, who, like the very darkness of chaos itself, must in time swallow all of his creations and, in so doing, bring them back to life again from the death that men call creation. We are all born out of this dark abyss and have no right to call it evil. It is the parent of gods and men, forever wrapped in the unexplorable robes of its own mystery. Out of this blackness, nature's unfathomed treasure house, man must exhume the stone of his own soul in the same way that the miner removes the diamond from its sheath of black carbon. 3. The dark lords of Saturn are the builders of the first dawn, the morning of blackness, and from the friction of their strivings were born the first flaming sparks of dawning consciousness. They were the mind-born and other Brahmins of our chain of globes, being delivered from the brain and mouth of Brahma. Their throne is made up of solid substance and the chemicals of solid matter. They are the satanic outpourings, the spirits of cold darkness. 4. In the diagram that follows are shown the 4 births which have come out of the body of Brahm, Brum, the unknown blackness, the X of being. 5. There is a false darkness and a true darkness.
So if you're wondering why he's talking about ancient Indian god, they do that with all of them. So they talk about Greco-Roman gods, Heracles, Hercules, blah, 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 whatever. And then they talk about Oriental stuff. They talk about, basically it's ancient. The ancient mystery schools all talked about the same archetypes. They all had a Satan. They all had this. They all had a Trinity.
The true darkness is the womb of light, the false darkness, the perversion of the light that pours out of the true darkness. Natural darkness is the basic principle of things, while the false darkness is the result of debasing the power of the angels of Satan.
When he says true darkness is the womb of light, right, as in it's not the evil one, and then there's an evil one, he's saying that a life by definition means you died, as in you have to go through that tunnel eventually.
6. The devil, the archetype of misuse, is not a son of Saturn, but a son of man and the false darkness of earth. Man is the incarnation of the germ of mental intelligence, and black magic is possible only to intelligent beings. 7. Absolute spirit, minus all the sheets of...
So Albert Pike, 33-degree Freemason, Grand Wizard of Masonry, he also said, I think it was him, I have it somewhere he saved, the pineal gland to do all this kind of stuff with, it's shaped different, and it's a different size in stupid people. So a lot of people on earth are just stupid, and we'll never understand this stuff.
Vehicles, unformed and uncompounded, is true darkness, the dimensionless basis of all that is, has been, or ever shall be, and the ultimate veil behind which all creation must retire. 8. Absolute crystallization is the false darkness, and is the colorless vibration at the lower end of the spectrum, opposing the colorless vibration at the upper end of the spectrum. Both ends ultimately are swallowed up in darkness, one in the darkness of spirit, and the other in the darkness of matter. 9. Life lives in darkness and dies in light, form lives in light and dies in darkness, but in dying really comes to life, for life, as we know it, is pure death. 10. Natural darkness is unawakened possibility, false darkness is perverted opportunity. The philosophy of opportunity. 11. If it were not for opportunity, in its various forms, there would be no perversion of power. There is an old saying, opportunity makes the thief. Opportunity is the eternal temptation, without temptation there could be no sinners. Therefore, when the higher powers brought man opportunity, they also brought him sin and death. The one who brought him light brought him also the false darkness. Light and shadow are inseparable, the shadow of light is the false darkness, for the creation of the first automatically brings the second. To be free from temptation, man must be free from reason, to be free from darkness, he must renounce light. Thus he becomes a renouncer of opposites, for in accepting one opposite, he must need to accept the other. 12. Temptation is the price that the human race pays for intelligence, therefore the serpent of wisdom is also the eternal tempter. When man learns with his growing intelligence of the powers of nature and, most of all, of the power that he himself possesses, there comes with that increasing knowledge ever greater responsibility. If man today knew of the God powers that lie dormant within him, he would be the most dangerous creature in the universe, both to himself and to the plan of things. The soul must grow with the knowledge that it gains, otherwise the organisms will ultimately destroy each other. Action and reaction must build strength of character, so that the will is always strong enough to curb the desires. When this is not the case, and desire runs rampant, then, regardless of the position of the organism in the path of unfoldment, a black magician is created. 13. Man has no free will at the present time, but merely the power of choice over a certain area of incidents brought, by his ever-growing consciousness, within the scope of his comprehension. These incidents have been differentiated by his evolving organisms from the dark primum hyle, or the true blackness. The greater his growth, the larger the area of his choices and the greater his independence. Y has been the eternal question in nature, and the letter Y is its phonetic equivalent, for it forms the sling that hurls the white stone at the forehead of Goliath.
Rare Manny P. Hall himself talking about black magic. I've seen this one.
There were secret words. There were secret conjurations, magic circles and terms, right?
Secret words, conjurations, spell circles, all the stuff that's the cringiest shit in the conspiracy realm is fucking real. Bigfoot is not real. Nothing in conspiracy world is real. Everything is magic, alchemy.
To be performed. And if the magician was able to perform these correctly, he could command the spirit. And if he could command the spirit, then the spirit had to obey him. And the spirit felt really, as several of the old accounts say, one or two of the spirits do, like Asmodeus in one of the early books, says to the conjurer who has called him out of the misty deep for some nefarious undertaking, "Why have you disturbed me? I have no reason to be here. I don't care anything about you. I don't want to hurt anybody. Why have you bothered me? Why have you said these words of power that now force me to obey?"
Hold on. Asmodeus is, I have it right here. I forget which demon this is when you conjure him up. It's a fucking ancient name. Which one is that? Fuck. Mammon is greed. Leviathan was envy. Lucifer is pride. I don't remember. Fuck. Whatever.
You, because you have the magic talismans, the magic symbols. Why have you done this to me? I don't dislike you. I haven't done anything to you. Why do you insist on binding me to some common human purpose of your own? This was the rather nonchalant idea. It seems to have carried through from the Greek, in which these spirits were simply part of the citizenry of an invisible empire, and really wouldn't have to bother anybody if humans left them alone. Now the next...
So, all those fallen angel talk, all those Greco gods, all of that shit, they're just talking to fucking demons, okay? Apparently you can use the archetype of the wandering stars to your benefit, But if you call it, that energy consumes you, right? If you call into Saturn.
Next phase of the situation takes on a little different coloring. As a result of the binding of spirits by these conjurations and these magical formulas, it came to be believed that human beings could hurt each other. This was a very late development in the idea of demonology, that human beings should want to use evil forces to afflict each other. This was not part of the original concept at all. Ghosts might haunt those who hurt them in life, but not innocent people. And in most countries, the ghost is a kind of a wavering symbol floating in the atmosphere in graveyards at night or something, but not inclined to do anything more than be there, although its presence might frighten some superstitious person out of his wits. But it was not really any particular idea. The concept that either evil wanted to conquer good or could conquer good came late. The idea that man might want to use evil, some kind of an invisible or magical evil, to hurt other people. This was simply not part of primitive ethics in the majority of instances. It arises occasionally, but is certainly of the exception rather than of the rule. But once we began to believe in witchcraft, once we believed that human beings could make pacts with demons, or could develop within themselves some evil force, could pervert their own natures, and begin to burden us with their perversion.
Foot
like
fetish.
the witches of Europe, riding on their broomsticks to the Sabbath on the Brocken, that human beings themselves, voluntarily and of their own inner conviction, chose to become evil, chose to hurt or destroy other people, and sought in long and difficult processes to discover means by means of which they could bewitch or haunt, or in some way from a distance plague or hurt normal, innocent folks.
Nancy Pelosi just yesterday hired an exorcist to protect her home. Like a fucking witch is using an exorcist. You really think this is just fucking games and shit? Google what I'm saying. If fact check me, bitch. Something about some dude with a hammer. Remember when that happened? She's worried about her gay lover, or husband's gay lover.
Antiquity had very little room for this concept because it simply did not believe it. It believed that the so-called spirits could exist. It believed that evil people could do evil deeds. But it simply did not develop any strong concept of black magic as we think of it today. It was outside of the grand concept of life.
Look at that. Demonology and witchcraft, it's always the same symbols as masonry. Like, look at this symbol right here. That's Mercury, right? That's Hermes.
These people held, and they would not permit something to be believed that did not fit into the great theory of the kind of world they lived in. And with the exception of very primitive people, there was no general group in society that believed that the world was created for the purpose of perpetuating evil, or that evil had any chance of conquering good. In the long, difficult picture of things, even in the Mazdaean faith, evil had no real power to ultimately achieve victory over good. Good was real, good was deep and great. Evil was passing. Evil was linked so closely to the infirmities of men that it became more and more obvious that most of the evil that we have attributed to demons really arises in the nature of man himself. That we are the creatures who seem to possess the strange power of being malignant in some way, malicious, malevolent in our conduct towards other people. So in the most part, we come down to comparatively modern times, bringing with us all the grimoires of old, the ancient books of magic and spirits, the pentacles and talismans of Agrippa, the old book of the keys of Solomon the king. We have all these beliefs that have been shadowed down through time, books that have to do with the creation of...
See, look at this symbol, right? That's the sigil of Lucifuge, Lucifer, and Freemasonry, and the as above, so below, male to female unity, fire to water. And then here is the owl Moloch. The reptile, the reptilian, with the reptilian third eye, is the frog. And the rabbit, with the goat of Mendes. Remember, you're either a goat or a sheep. You're either a sheep following goodness and God, or you're your own savior. You're the goat.
of an empire of sorcery, a sorcery in which all of the common good of life is threatened and the universe is placed at the disposal of the sorcerer. If he can become wise enough, if he can become strong enough, if he can become skillful enough, there seems to be no limit to what he can do to ordinary, well-intentioned, God-fearing people. This concept has lingered on, however, in an extraordinary way. And unless we begin to think it through somewhere, we have to face it more frequently than perhaps we like to really imagine. Even in our most sober moments.
This upside down pentagram, or just, the Eastern Star falling is what it is. It's actually not the most used for magic. The regular star is.
We are afraid that somewhere around us, somewhere in space, are powers of evil. That these powers of evil, operating upon us from the invisible, or coming into focus here through persons of evil nature, that these forces can do us great harm. We have also come gradually to...
Hold on, I got a treat for you guys. Let me show you something. What's this? 5G came out 2019. What else came? COVID. This one is about different... All right. Forget about harmonic resonance. That's too complicated. Let's say... Remember the 2012 Olympics with the giant black figure and all of the hospital beds? And look at the fucking eyes. Mainstream media now openly reporting the elite lining up to ingest the blood of children. Albert Pike wrote, "We shall unleash nihilists and atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations, people of different nationalities, the effects of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil." Dude, even the bad guys are afraid of atheists. That's how savage, wicked, and beastly atheists are. Check this one out. It is a religion, blah, 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 neo-Gnosticism, teaching that the divinity is dual. Look, they're teaching duality. The divinity is dual, and that Lucifer is equal of Adonai, which is one of the names of God, right? That they call him. With Lucifer, the god of light and goodness, struggling for humanity against Adonai, the god of darkness and evil. So they're coming after the Bible. Albert Pike had only specified and unveiled the dogmas of high grades of all other masonries. For in no matter what right, the great architect of the universe is not the God worshipped by Christians. Interesting. 32nd degree. Interesting. That's the extract from Masonry. When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onwards and upwards, he must prove his ability to properly apply this energy. Lost Keys of Freemasonry, page 48, Manny P. Hall, 33-degree Mason. Okay, so that's... Both of them are talking about Lucifer, which I think this one's even more sick. The Luciferian shit is sick, but the one where they say, unfortunately, Adonai is also God is coming up. That we worship, that is which we say to the crowd is we worship a God, but it is the God one adores without superstition, meaning they're scientifically proving God. To you, Sovereign Grand Inspector General, we say this, you may repeat it to the brethren of 32nd, 31st, and 30th of the Masonic religion, It's not a religion, it's just a club. Of the Masonic religion should be by all of the initiates of the high degrees maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, the God of the Christians, whose deeds prove cruelty, perfidy, and hatred of man, barbarism, blah, blah, blah. Fuck. Where is it? Barbarism and repulsion for science, would Adonai and his priests culminate him? Yes, Lucifer is God, and unfortunately Adonai is also God. Look how they can never just say it's only our guy. They always have to accept it. For the eternal law is that there is no light without shade. Here's that no beauty without ugliness. Shut the fuck up with this duality shit. Basically, he wants you to think it's like some Egyptian sun versus moon type world. The doctrine of Satanism is heresy, and the true and pure philosophical religion is the belief in Lucifer, the equal of Adonai. But Lucifer, God of light and God of good, is struggling for humanity against Adonai, the God of darkness and evil. This is some serious shit. This is some serious shit. So if these guys are the most powerful on earth, then they're kind of making the strongest argument for Christianity. Fun fact. Oh yeah, Antarctica's Corona Nation, Omicron Islands, Delta Island. That's funny, yeah. A World Cup stadium was designed by Albert Hitler's whatever. This is atheism meme. This one, we saw this one. This is interesting, but a little too far-fetched for me. Baal worship. The beginning of Masonry with the Zodiac, Bill Clinton in a trance. Oh, Kabbalah bracelets. This is serious shit, dude. This is exactly what I was going to show you. Bro, you think I'm fucking crazy, right? Elmi, bro. Elmi got this one. Dude, Lionel Messi and all of them wear Kabbalah bracelets. It's kind of wild. All right. Let's see this. Where is it? Look at this one. Look at this. Order of the Eastern Star. It's a type of masonry. There's the Eastern Star dropping. Like, they don't hide it. Sometimes it's witchcraft, sometimes it's Satanism, which is kind of the same shit. This is Elon Musk's mom. This is our hero's mom. And Elon would be seen as solar Luciferian. This is wild shit. This is Elon Musk's mother. Transhumanist. Epstein Island. We've seen that one. Now check this. The Masonic square and compass, the sigil of the demon Azazel, Saturn, coincidence, maybe. Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's Greta. Here's Greta for people like Destiny who say this is just art. Why the eye every single time? Why do celebrities do this as well? Yeah, it gets fucked up. This is a little too advanced. Oh, this is the real red pill. Forget what Andrew Tate talks about. Look at this. Anyone who tells you I'm a schizo, show them this. Every single police station, the head sheriff is a Mason. Every single state. And no one will talk about that. This fucking idiot in chat said, I don't get it. How the fuck do you not get it, you fucking retard? There's a square and compass and generative principle in the middle. Or the seventh divine letter, G. Grand architect. You fucking retard. What is this? This is some fucking Lady Gaga ritual, right? John, she's just got the checkered black and white Satanism versus Luciferian duality Masonic checkerboard legging, blindfold, and where have we seen this before? Masonic initiation. Identical to Masonic initiation, and witchcraft initiation is the same shit. It's fucking identical, bro. But it's just art, bro. It's just art every single time. Why doesn't Andrew Tate talk about this stuff? How come no one talks about this stuff? Right? Then there's fucking Justin Bieber, who leaves fans confused after he posts 13 pictures of random babies with the caption yummy on Instagram. Yeah, I don't want to show this actually. This is kind of fucking weird. Then the World Cup ended in the Masonic number 33. 33. And there they are wearing their witchcraft bracelets. Their good luck charms. All of them. Messi wears it around his foot. There's another one right here. Huh. That is weird. Then for the flat earthers, there's Klaus Schwab, and he says, next up, Antarctica. Eat the bug. And people are like, there's nothing in Antarctica, bro. Zherka, you're just coping. I'm like, dude, I'm just not retarded like you, okay? I just see too much. I see too much evil. Then we see who the fuck started the United Nations. Lucius Trust is the Lucifer Company. Look at the sigil. And look at the pyramid. Okay. Manny P. Hall says, among many ancient peoples, God was considered as being androgynous and referred to as the Great Father Mother. When the Creator was represented by an image, various subtle devices were employed to indicate its hermaphroditic nature. The world knows many religions, but nature has but one truth. Manny P. Hall. Then when we see spirit cooking using cow blood, this is Marina Abramovich. And what is this? This is not PlayStation letters. There's a pentagram, square, triangle. So she's using some simple geometric shapes, right? But where have we seen this before? Where have we seen this spirit cooking shit? Well, hold on. I'll find it just a sec. Until then, maybe I'm coping, or is Super Mario standing on a solar-powered Luciferian symbol? Appreciate that, problem. Is Super Mario standing in a Masonic lodge, or am I coping? I don't think I'm coping. Freemasons marry boys, little boys. It's a weird ritual. I think this one's in Turkey. Yeah, well, that's how they get their superpowers, I guess. Because candidates to strip off all secular clothing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, basically the oath of masonry is identical to witchcraft. And here's Lionel Messi. And what's that around his foot? Another coincidence wrapped around his foot. Zherka, you just see too much. You're crazy. Mainstream media now openly reporting on the elites lining up to ingest the blood of children. That is on number 3 news. Mainstream news. Every planet and star is part of a chain of life that can be clearly compared once the mechanics are understood and one's inner awakening has reached a certain level of development. Thus, the search for life in the cosmos is not in a spaceship, but rather within human being. More Masonic literature. This is a banned book, blah, blah, blah. And then we have this. What the fuck is this? Another coincidence. Oprah with the Philosopher's Stone. Interesting. Kabbalah, whatever. I know this one. Blavatsky, H.P. Blavatsky says, and now it stands proven that Satan, or the red fiery dragon, the lord of phosphorus, and Lucifer, or light bearer, is in us. It is our mind. So, like, what is their obsession? What is their obsession with the Bible, and fusing it with old religions and focusing on just inverting it? What is their obsession? This is witchcraft, bitch. She's famous as fuck for theosophy and all that kind of stuff. The mysteries taught that during the higher degrees of initiation, the gods themselves took part in the instruction of candidates, or at least were present, which was in itself benediction. Then we see the sigil of Lucifer, right? The sun, the solar power. And there's the heliocentric model. That's the third eye. Interesting. Alistair Crowley, he writes, again, we may say that all the great men of antiquity were sodomites. Socrates, Caesar, Alexander, Marshall, Catullus, Virgil, Achilles, Napoleon, Friedrich, the great Goethe, Shakespeare, Francis Bacon, an unbroken line of English monarchs, Mohammed, Benvenuto Cellini. Pretty much he's saying everyone practiced homosexuality. This is Aleister Crowley. Freak Aleister. The marriage of the sun and the moon. This takes place in a man when the heart and the mind are joined in eternal union. It occurs when the positive and negative poles within are united, and from that union is made the philosopher's stone. What the fuck is this? From these outpouring streamers of forces derived to popular belief that angels have wings, so falling stars. These wings are corona-like fans of light by means of which the celestial creatures propel themselves through the subtle essences of super physical worlds. Manny P. Hall. That's too hard to understand, bro. And everything made of sulfur, salt, and mercury. Many initiates in the ancient mysteries stated emphatically that they had conversed with the immortals and had beheld the gods. Manny P. Hall. Then we have Will Smith, and he's getting married to the devil in front of an Epstein Island altar. Why? That's just weird. But it's another coincidence, according to Destiny. Just like Will Smith's emotional slap of that small man, he's doing the hidden hand. Another coincidence that lines up perfectly with Masonry. Basically, if you don't subscribe, you're going to burn in hell. I've read so many books for a year straight to bring you this knowledge. The least you can do is subscribe. Don't be disgusting. I need everyone to subscribe by the end of the week. And may God be with you all.